Oh. Morning. Ow. Hit my knee on the cabinet when I was walking out. But as you guys can tell, last night we slept outside of a Cracker Barrel here in Las Vegas. Over the weekend I flew home to help my girlfriend move into her house, but now we are back in the van, picked it up at the airport last night, got some chores done, filled my water tank, did a few other things, and stayed the night here in this Cracker Barrel parking lot. And it just so happens that this Cracker Barrel parking lot is actually shared by the largest Bass Pro Shop that I've ever seen in my entire life. And if you've been watching my channel for a while, or at least for the last few weeks, you know that I went out and did a video with my friend Simplistic for his YouTube channel, which if you haven't already watched, definitely go watch it. And he ended up gifting me, if we step back into the van, a bunch of Bass Pro Shop gift cards. And by a bunch, I mean a bunch. This is $500 worth of Bass Pro Shop gift cards in $25 denominations. So since we're here and we're just getting back into living in the back of the van again, at least for the next couple weeks, I figured we would put these to good use, go in there, get a bunch of stuff, and try to make the coolest van life outdoor man cave camping setup that I possibly can with all the stuff that I can get in there. But before we head inside, I do want to thank this video's sponsor, and that is Jackery and their new Jackery Explorer 1000 Plus that has a ton of cool features. It's an outdoor solar generator, and we're going to be using this thing to power all of the outdoor gadgets and gizmos that we get for our ultimate campsite build. So we'll get more into that later. But we are parked kind of far away from the store, so before we head in there, I'm going to drive over a little bit closer. And if you're wondering why I had the Jackery in the back area of the van and not in the garage area, is because I'm in Las Vegas, which means it is very hot out all the time. So I had it sitting up here in the front, powering my AC all night last night, keeping me nice and cool. So that was really nice. The thing is massive, has a ton of power and battery storage. So it's kind of a lifesaver when I want to leave my AC on all night long. But let's head inside, see what we can find for our campsite tonight. So I'm thinking I'll just get as much as I can here in their camping section, and then I want to stop by a few other stores, grab a few other things just in case this place doesn't have any, but we should be able to find a lot of the stuff here. This place is absolutely massive. Hello, fishies. That guy down there is huge. What's up, dude? All right, so it is definitely gonna be hot out. So I do wanna make some ice cream. Don't think I want that big one though. And this one looks pretty cool. Ice cream ball, fill it with ice, roll it around on the ground, and somehow turns into ice cream. Also grab ourselves a new table since ours is kind of old and falling apart at the moment. A new cast iron. Cooking some dinner tonight. Gotta have a footrest, somewhere to pop the feet up. A little patio torch. Light up the area, keep the mosquitoes away. And I think that's just about everything. The last thing I got was this propane torch, but there just really isn't that much here, honestly, in terms of camping. It's more so hunting and fishing, so we'll go check out all of this, head to the next store, and we're on our way to making the ultimate desert campsite. I have about 30 gift cards that I want to use. I know it's annoying.
The more time you can take out for me, the better. It makes less talking I have to do.
So they're all in $25 increments, so I guess just as much as we can get on them. There we go. Took a while for her to swipe all of the gift cards, but we got them, and we still got $200 left over. We'll come back and get something else at some point. All right, so now we gotta find a space for all of this new stuff. And then we're heading, I think, to Walmart, REI, and then we're heading out. So now we've got to pick up some groceries here at Walmart and a few other maybe camping supplies. And then we're heading over to REI. I think I'm gonna get some solar lights and maybe a few other things. And now we're ready to head over to the campsite. I actually went to Camping World after REI because REI had absolutely nothing. Got a few more things, but we should be good to go now. And we're only about an hour away from our campsite, so luckily it won't take us too long to get there. All right, so we have made it up here. We are on the Halloran Summit Road, just outside of Las Vegas on Interstate 15. And now we are driving down this dead-end road to hopefully find a campsite somewhere off in the desert next to some Joshua trees. Road kind of just comes to an end right here. So now I just got to pick a road to go on and see if we can find somewhere to camp. Let's see. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. It looks like I may have already found a spot. Nestled up in between some of these Joshua trees right here. I think this is where we're gonna stay tonight. Not bad, didn't even have to drive that far down this road. So I'm not too sure what this road is exactly. This Joshua tree has seen some better days though. I guess it's still halfway alive. But I'm really not too sure what this road is or where it leads or where I'm at or what this whole area is, but we're about, I'd say maybe a half a mile up the highway that way. You can still kind of hear it faintly, but not really too much. And pretty much the only thing out here is me, this dirt road that I have no idea where it leads. And that right there is some sort of graffitied up abandoned gas station. And we have pretty good cell signal because I don't know if you can see it through that tree right there somewhere, but there is a cell tower, so very nice. But for our campsite, not really too much here. Looks like there was once a bonfire there at some point, some broken glass. And then just this. And the sunset is gonna be very nice tonight. Perfectly clear skies. We picked up a ton of stuff at the store, so I think time to get all this set up. So first things first, come into the back here, take out all of this stuff that we bought, starting with our mat. Because obviously with making the perfect campsite, we can't be tracking dirt in and out of the van. So I got this 15-foot mat to hopefully help with that. Lay it down with some rocks so it doesn't blow away. There we go. Now we won't be tracking any dirt into the van. So now that we've got our mat, up next on the setup docket is our awning. Protect us from what's left of this brutal sunlight. There we go. Now this is starting to look like a proper campsite. And since we're hanging out outside tonight, everything out here, including my Xbox, projector, the popcorn machine, lights, and everything is going to be powered by this Jackery. So before we set up the rest of the stuff, I'm gonna get this hooked into its solar panels, make sure we can get as much charge into that thing before the sun fully goes down. So it comes with two 100-watt foldable solar panels that you can just plug directly into it, which makes it super convenient to use when you're out on the road like this, because you can just take these solar panels, unfold them, get them pointed right at the sun, and then built into the back of them, they have these little plugs that you can pull out, and you can hook both of these solar panels together, and then you can just take each of these solar panels, plug them into the back of the system, and it's charging up. So we should have a ton of battery for later when we've got everything set up. So let's do that now. And boom, just like that. Mostly everything is set up. We got our projector for playing Xbox a little bit later, and I got a upgraded projector screen now that has a backing so you can't really see through it as much, so I should be able to use it in more light, although we've still got too much sun from the sun right now. Got the solar panels charging with my Mr. fan to keep me nice and cool. Fire pit for cooking s'mores on later tonight, chair with a footrest, and also a 4-foot light up palm tree, because why not? But now we gotta get all this other stuff ready and make it look pretty out here. And the first step to that, lights. So I got these USB kind of like wire lights that I'm gonna take and just wrap around the top of the canopy and then maybe down some of these poles on the side as well. And there we go. Obviously they're not on yet, but got the wires wrapped all the way around, down these poles to make them look nice and pretty. Now we can start opening up all the fun stuff. Like our electric popcorn maker. Set that up on the table right there. And then we've got our gel fire pit, packs of popcorn, our ice cream making ball that apparently, this thing I'm really excited to use. You fill this with ice, so you take off this little end piece on the back here, you unscrew this end piece and unscrew this end piece. You fill one side with ice, one side with all the ingredients to my ice cream, and then you just yeet the ball and throw it a bunch, and it turns into a nice little scoopable ice cream. So bought a bag of ice. I think I have all the ingredients to make ice cream. So we'll try that out after dinner. But we are slowly losing sun. The sun is starting to set. So I think it might be just about time to get started with dinner. I also do have one of these for later when it starts to get dark. And I haven't used one of these propane kind of torch lamps in a long time. So we'll get that set up later. One more thing I forgot to mention about my setup outside. I saw this in the store, which I thought was pretty cool. Not this trash bag, but this. And it's so nice to be able to walk out here with bare feet. But this right here is a trash bag holder. I can just clip this trash bag in like this. And now I won't have to keep going in and out of the van to throw things away. So just a little small thing, but I thought it was pretty cool. For dinner tonight, it seemed only right to do a food that everyone knows and loves is delicious. And that would be filet mignon. Use this pre-seasoned cast iron that I got today, which should be great for searing and baking the steak up. So first things first, before I forget, got to preheat this oven up to just about 415, and I now have a thermometer so I know when it gets there. But something I always forget to do is preheat my oven, so I'm going to do that as early as I can. And we've got about 30 minutes of sunlight left, so I should be finished with the steak and the potatoes just as the sun is setting. And while I wait for that to preheat, we're going to get started on the potatoes. So if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know up in Alaska I found my new favorite way to cook potatoes because it's super easy and they come out delicious. So first things first, take your potatoes. You can use big potatoes, small potatoes, it doesn't really matter. I prefer these ones because they cook faster and they're a little bit easier to cut up. Basically, you just take them, slice a thin layer off one side just so you have a flat surface to set it on, and then you just cut it up into little coins. And I'm still working on my cutting technique. It's not perfect, but we're getting there. So now I'm going to take all of these potatoes and do the exact same thing to all of them. So now that we've got all these diced up, you can get some avocado oil. Get that in the pan and get that absolutely ripping hot. Then we'll throw these in there. All right, so I think I'm gonna have to do this in batches because I got too many potatoes, but go ahead and throw those in there. Get them nice and coated. Last one. For seasoning, we're keeping it really simple. Best seasoning of all time, Buttery Steakhouse. Garlic powder. And then some paprika to give it a little color. Now we can get those all mixed together and seasoned evenly. And the best way to cook these, and what I found to be true online and from cooking potatoes a bunch of times, is that you got to spread them out evenly. So almost every single potato has a spot and is touching the pan, and then you leave them there and you don't touch them for 5 to 7 minutes, and they get nice and golden crispy on one side, and then you can stir them up and let them cook the rest of the way. So that's what we're gonna do. And our oven is just about preheated, so while those are cooking, we can get started on the steak. So to start out, it's the same process. Get a bunch of avocado oil in the pan and get that absolutely ripping hot. And we're going for a little sear bake method here to get a perfectly, hopefully, medium rare steak. So we've had these steaks sitting out for about 20 minutes, getting them up to room temperature. And now the seasoning for these is super simple because we're just using this steak seasoning. So we'll get that on all sides generously. Then you can pat it down, get it really nice in there, flip it, and repeat the process on the backs and all of the edges. This oil is just about starting to smoke, so place them in. Letting it down away from me. Second one, same thing. And we'll let those sear on each side for exactly 2 minutes. Beautiful. So now 2 more minutes on this side, and then those will be ready to go in the oven. And I think these potatoes are good for a stir. Oh yeah. And then for the last 30 seconds before we throw it in the oven, add a nice knob of butter, some garlic, a few sprigs of rosemary, and a little bit of thyme right in the back over there. Get that nice and mixed together. Turn some of that on top. And now take this whole thing and throw it in the oven for exactly 5 minutes at 415. And hopefully we'll have a perfectly cooked steak. And I did take that first round of potatoes off and put that second one in, but I do want to take you guys outside because this sunset is something else. I mean, that is spectacular. This whole area is just glowing. It's gonna look really cool when it dips below that horizon and all the color kind of evens out. But perfect time to finish dinner. Right around sunset. Nice orange glow coming to the back of the van too. All right, 5 minutes is up. I don't know why that took so long to go off. Go ahead and take this steak out of here. Oh, it looks so good. And we can take both of these beautiful looking steaks, set them on a plate, loosely wrap them in tin foil, and let them sit for right around 7 minutes, and they should be perfectly medium rare. And while we wait for that, we can start to get the Xbox and the projector set up, which I took out while I was waiting for that steak to cook. Now that the sun is fully down behind that mountain over there. This palm tree looks so funny. I swear, and I've said it before, desert sunsets are some of the most beautiful sunsets that you'll see, second to mountain sunsets. So I think I'm just gonna set it up here on this table. Set this up on the table, comes with an HDMI, and then I gotta move the Jackery. So now that the sun is fully down, we're not getting any solar in anyways. Unplug that, take our fan that should be now fully charged, and we'll set this up over here. So that way we can plug in our lights. Beautiful. Both sets into the two USB-A's that this Jackery has. This thing has so many different plugs. USBs, USB-Cs, AC outlets. It's got an inverter, this light, for if you need to see at night. And it's just so big and powerful that it should be able to power everything that I have out here tonight. So I really want to get this palm tree plugged in. I think that's what I'm going to do next. So we'll get that plugged in. Turn on the inverter on the Jackery, and that should kick on all of the lights for the palm tree. Beautiful. This looks sick. I cannot wait to sit out here and eat my steak. Let's get this projector plugged in too. And the reason it's so nice to have such a big power station is that I can plug so many things into it. And I think I have the perfect amount of ports on this because the only thing I have left to plug in, and there's the alarm for the steaks. Steaks should be nice and done, but the only thing I have left to plug in is the Xbox. But before we do that, take these steaks off of here before they overcook. Beautiful. That is, I think, perfectly cooked. Look at that. Beautiful looking steaks. I think, in my opinion, perfectly cooked, but you guys let me know. And also the second batch of potatoes is done, but I'm just gonna leave those in there because I don't think I'm gonna be able to eat all of those anyways. Before we can eat the steak, let's get this Xbox set up real quick. Plug that into the Jackery, and then we can hook the projector up to the Xbox and see if it's working. Hey! It's very blurry. Let's see if we can clear that up a little bit. I think we might have to move the projector a little bit farther away. Got the projector moved to the back of the table. Look at that. Beautiful. Xbox is working. All right, let's eat some steak and play some Xbox in this amazing California sunset because we did cross the border back over to California. Grab our steak. Beautiful. And a nice cold Modelo from the fridge. And now this is what I call camping. I also just downloaded Starfield, so we're gonna load that up and play. Super fun game. Definitely play it. Let's give this steak a try. Cheers. Woo! That is some good steak. But before we start to play while we eat, I'm actually gonna grab my portable air conditioner because it is still kind of hot. And at least for now, it'll probably cool off to a more manageable temperature in about an hour and a half. I'm gonna keep that plugged in and I'm gonna unplug the palm tree. And then a little bit later, we'll get the palm tree plugged back in once it cools off a little bit out here. So I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to see this, but currently, well, before it started blowing, that said 81 degrees. It says 74 right now. So we'll see what it gets down to as we start playing some Starfield. Whew, this AC feels so good. So right now, in case you forgot, into the Jackery, I have an AC unit plugged in. I have all of my lights plugged in, I have my Xbox, and I have my projector plugged in, and it's running perfectly. And this is the epitome of glamping. Let's get into space and fly around a little bit. One thing I will say about Starfield though is it is a beautiful game, but my Xbox Series S, after about 30 minutes of playing it, no matter what, turns into my own personal heater and starts to just completely bug out from, I guess, being too overloaded from the game. So I can only ever play it for so long. I might need to upgrade to the Series X or something else. Also, I've resorted to just eat my steak with my fingers. Nothing like eating a steak in the desert, playing Xbox in the middle of nowhere with my own portable AC and a nice footstool. It's so cool how long the sunset lingers around here. Borderline looks prettier now than it did when the sun was actually setting. Boom, boom! Alright, I think that's enough video games for the night. It's getting pretty dark out here. I think I need to set up my lantern. I think after this, we're gonna make some ice cream and s'mores, because why not? So I've always been fascinated by these, how this thing burns brightly enough to make a lantern, but it does. Pretty sure you just clip it onto there, and then clip it onto the bottom, just like that. Like that, screw this piece on. And screw in our propane tank. Then we can crank on the propane. Holy God, Lord have mercy. Okay, I'm gonna take this outside. All right, so it turns out instructions are important. You're supposed to burn the mantle, which is that little net thing that I was so fascinated with, before you try to light it. So we're gonna do that first. There we go. Now it should burn through nice and evenly, and then it becomes extremely fragile, and then we should light it so I don't blow up my face. All right, so we have successfully gotten the lantern lit. Super bright, very nice, but it does attract a ton of moths, so it's something we're gonna have to deal with. But probably just set this on the ground over here, keep all the moths away from me. And there we go, nice and bright. Always read instructions before you try to light something with propane. Now that we've got that figured out and our lantern has become a magnet for those bird moths, so I had to put it way over there, which is actually nice because it keeps all the bugs kind of out of my area. Might move it a little bit farther away. Actually, these moths are so big. Move that over here. And while they're over there doing that, we are gonna make some ice cream with our ice cream ball. And also get that popcorn machine cranking. I think I'm gonna skip over the s'mores tonight because, I don't know, it's still a little bit hot out. Don't really feel like eating s'mores. So we're just gonna do ice cream and popcorn. For this recipe, in order to make ice cream out of this ball thing, you need heavy cream, sugar, and vanilla. And I didn't know you needed heavy cream, so I just got milk, which I thought was what I needed. But you don't. So we're gonna make our own heavy cream. And to do that, we need 3/4 cup of milk and 1/4 cup of butter, which I just melted off camera in this pot. I'm honestly just gonna eyeball this and see if it comes out good, because last time when I made ice cream, it didn't really taste very good, and I think it's because I didn't add enough sugar. So we're gonna try a little bit more sugar and see if we can make some actually good tasting ice cream. So this right here is the one side of the ice cream ball. So you put your milk, your ice cream mixture in here, which is what we're gonna do right now. So I need 3/4 of a cup of milk. And then 1/4 of a cup of butter. Throw that in there, mix that up together. And that's essentially gonna be our heavy cream. So now to that heavy cream mixture, we can add a bunch of sugar, and I also apparently don't have regular sugar, all I have is powdered sugar, so that's what we're gonna have to use. Throw a bunch of that in there, that all mixed in. And then the last little touch, just a splash of vanilla. Then we can mix that in and close off the top piece of this ball. So now we can take this ball, flip it over, and open up this side, which is basically the negative of the other side. And we're supposed to fill this with a ton of ice and rock salt. So on my way here, I went to the store and I picked up this gigantic bag of ice. And now we're just gonna unload it as much as we can into the back side of this. And I'm just gonna periodically add a ton of rock salt in there. Make sure it's nice and mixed in evenly. Make it a mess. And I do want to leave some room so that this can swirl around and get mixed in with this rock salt. And there we go. That is the rock salt and ice. Go ahead and close this up, and then I'm going to take it outside with all of my new moth buddies. Throw it around like a bowling ball. All right. Let's go see how much of a beating this ball can take. And if it actually makes ice cream. There is a full-on swarm horde of moths around that lantern. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this. It's how dark it is out now. And I don't want to roll it through the moths. All right, so I moved the lantern. I'm going to take my ball, go for a strike. So I plugged the palm tree back in, and I moved away from the lantern because all the bugs seem to be over there. But now I'm just going to toss it as high as I can. Ooh. Pretty sure that's a pricker bush.
And hopefully, after a few tosses, we'll have ice cream. Really gotta work for your ice cream with this one. And this little palm tree is actually pretty cool because it folds down pretty small. But I will say though, I am excited to see how this comes out. So, it's been about 10 minutes of shaking. Got my little fan on, I filled it with water. It's blowing out mist, it's pretty cool actually. Along with the AC blowing to keep me nice and cool.
I don't know how well you guys are gonna be able to see that, but it's a little bit creamy. Not the perfect consistency, but
Maybe another 5 minutes
and we'll have ice cream that is not very good.
and definitely not worth the work it took to get it.
All right, I think that should be good enough.
Looks like just about the consistency of a thin soft serve, so let's go inside and give it a try.
Moment of truth. Hopefully it tastes better than the last batch of ice cream I made. I do think it will though, because with the amount of sugar that I put in there, it'd be kind of hard for it not to taste good. So let's give it a try. It's not the best consistency, but it honestly could be a lot worse. It's honestly kind of like an icy consistency, and it's a little chunky because the butter kind of chunked up in there. I think it's because I poured it in there when it was warm, but it's honestly not too bad. It does taste like a vanilla ice cream, just with like little chewy chunks of butter in there, so it's not bad. You can kind of see those butter chunks in there, but anyways, I think I'm gonna bring this outside and figure out how to get this popcorn machine going with the Jackery and watch a movie with some popcorn and ice cream. With this one, I did decide to read the instructions so we don't have another mishap like the lantern, but it is pretty straightforward. You just turn it on, heat it up, pour the popcorn in, you're good to go. First things first, let's get this thing plugged in to our Jackery power station, which by the way has been absolutely amazing handling all of this stuff. I have had the Xbox plugged in, the projector plugged in, my AC plugged in, all of the lights plugged in for at least 2 or 3 hours, and we're still at 74% battery. So this thing has a crazy capacity and it has been awesome. But yeah, definitely the perfect outdoor camping companion, because if it can handle all of this for 3 hours, it can definitely handle anything you throw at it. So shout out to Jackery for sponsoring this video and sending me their solar generator. Definitely go check them out at the link in the description below. But I'm gonna turn this thing on, let it heat out for like 3 minutes, and then we're ready to pop. All right, I think that's been heating up for long enough. Turn that off, take that off, and it says very clearly on the directions that you shouldn't add any oil or butter or anything in there, just add the kernels and it'll pop perfectly fine. Add them in there, put the topper on, and I got my little snap together foldable bowl up here under the catch popcorn. Look at that. Beautiful, fresh, popped popcorn, courtesy of my Jackery. I think that just about concludes our night in my outdoor man cave. Actually, before I end it off, might as well put one piece of trash in the trash bag. But that's it. That is the ultimate desert campsite. I'm also thinking about making this a series and making the campsites cooler and cooler and cooler with every iteration of this. I think I'm gonna hang out here, eat some popcorn, watch a movie with all of my moth brethren. And honestly, this lantern hasn't really provided me much light over in my area, but it has done a great job of keeping all the moths over here. I've got my fresh little popcorn, so I'm gonna hang out, maybe watching episodes of Suits, because I've been really into that recently. And then I'll probably clean up most of the important, expensive stuff, get it put away. I'll leave the awning and some of the other stuff out here. But as always, I truly appreciate you guys watching. If you haven't already, think about clicking that subscribe button. It really does help out the channel. And I will catch you guys next time.